Hello, I wanted to just do a video and see how a dasha can produce amazing results or not so amazing. Dashas or mahadashas in Vedic astrology are planetary periods where one planet has got a lot to say about what's going on in your chart. So, for example, say K2 is in your ninth house. So during that time, if you go into it, and normally what will be happening if it's to do with ninth house, will be occurring around about the time when you're starting your higher education. So it'd be like from 18 onwards. And normally then what will happen is as soon as it starts, you go into education, you travel a bit more, and that kind of thing starts just occurring. I'm just going to check my, yeah, it's fine, internet. Okay, so, and then you'll have also sub-periods, and these sub-periods will then give a little bit more detail, because you're not going to just, if you're in K2, 7 years dasha, it doesn't mean that everything is going to be K2. There's going to be sub-dashas, sub-sub-dashas, sub-sub-dashas. It's like five levels. And each of those, you can actually go as precise as the day, really. You can see what's happening. So I'm going to use Angela Merkel's chart, so we can actually have a look at her dasha, her chart, and see what's happened to her dashas. Okay, so actually, let me just see if I did that correctly. Share, that's it. Here we go. I'll get rid of myself there. I'm going to cover myself up actually, so I can. So right now, this is her chart. So she is Scorpio ascendant. Let's have a look at her chart and see what's going on. So she's Scorpio ascendant, and Jyotish is her nakshatra, birth nakshatra. So she actually had the last solar eclipse that occurred on the 4th of December was on her ascendant. So although we never really find out what's going on with these people, but it must have been something very, very profound happened to her, or will be happening to her in the next 6 months to 3 years. That's how long it takes for the results. But I dare say within the next, so December, it'll be another maybe 5 months or so, we'll learn a few more things about her life, because it will be about her as well, because this literally has happened in her first house, and it's also during that time, because Mercury rules Jyotish, so she's ruled by by Mercury in a sense, as well as Mars being the first, the ruler of Scorpio. So we know that about her, generally speaking, there are quite a lot of secrets about her, just purely by the fact that her ascendant is Scorpio, and being the first house, because we all have Scorpio in certain part of our life, and that part of our life we keep certain things very quiet and secret. But with her will be herself, secrets about herself. So when the solar eclipse occurred, so we had K2, Mercury, and the Sun. They were all in, and the Moon, all in Scorpio. So we'll be like ninth house ruler, 10th house ruler, so ninth house ruler Moon, 10th house ruler Sun, and Mercury, which is the ruler of the 8th and 11th house ruler in there. So once we find out actually what's going on, it'd be about like things to do with her work, to do with like dad, maybe sun being like sun rules. Well, sun rules her 10th house of career, but it's also the indicator of father as well. And obviously she's a politician, so about that. Things to do with her dad, as I said, and also things to do with 8th house of secrets and 11th house of what would be her big groups of network will be happening, once we get some things to know about that. I always find it very interesting because most what you call like politicians, leaders, people in people who are really quite famous and leaders, they always got planets in the 12th house and the 8th house, if they're really sort of 12th house, but obviously she has 12th and 8th house. So there are things about her that we really have no idea about. So, so basically, just reading her chart just very quickly, first house ruler is Mars. It's retrograde, funnily enough, and in the second house of money with Rahu. So you know that she has no issues with money, because also Jupiter, the ruler of the second house, is aspect in the second house too. So it's just literally, you know, very, very strong. And so also we can see that she has third house moon. Third house moon makes her quite a good speaker. Speaks so that she can connect with the masses on that level. And she has a full moon as well. Look at that, sun and moon right opposite each other, very, very strong. And Venus, you know, being the ruler of the 12th house and the 7th house in the 10th house. That's quite interesting, really. So there are some secret things within her job. And Venus obviously rules politics, as does, you know, Leo. So she's obviously very, very strong placement there for her. And the ruler of her the 10th house, the sun, is in the 9th house. And you can see moon is aspecting Cancer, protecting Cancer as well. So it's all kind of multiple Raj yogas going on, because it's like 9th house ruler aspect in the 10th house creates the 10th house ruler sun. So that creates a really, really strong Raj yoga as well. And it's also we have multiple things going on. So the dispositor of her moon, which is also her Atmakaka, because the planet with the highest degree, Saturn, is also exalted in Libra. But, you know, so you can see some of the things that her, you know, third house stuff, they're quite secretive as well, being in the 12th house. Very interesting. So also she has 8th house stuff going on. So Mercury, you know, there are quite a lot of Mercury being planet of communication. So there's a lot of secret communications. Jupiter is also like second house of family. So that's also gone into a secret house. So there are things about her family we don't know. And also K2 there. So like it's like a lineage thing that's like secretive there as well. So that you can see all multiple things going on. First and sixth house ruler in the second house. So you can see that there are sort of some obstacles to do with family, and I don't know actually her children's situation. I don't know if, you know, her own family things. So I don't know. So there could be some, because wherever Mars is, we have arguments, you know, so this is like family, very, very, so it could also give unusual family as well, because Rahu is there, or foreign family, you know, and Sagittarius being natural 9th house of the zodiac. So we don't really know. That's what I mean. They're just like, literally, there's so many things that we really don't know. So anyway, if we have a look now at her dasha, so I went back. I just want to get the dates from my notes. So she was actually, she's been in politics many, many years. And so when I looked at the, Wikipedia, you can see that she's had many, many successes, really. And so I'm going to just get the Wikipedia up for myself so I can look at some of her detail of what's going on with her. So obviously she's quite a powerful lady, and she was in power for many, many years till last year. So it says that she literally started her personal journey in politics quite young, so from 1990. So if we look at her dasha, actually, so if I just close that and go up, so it started in Jupiter period. So 1990, it'll be like in 10 years into her Jupiter dasha, she started her political political life. So Jupiter rules for her second house and fifth house of politics. And so it naturally is going to kick that off for her in a sense. So, and so for her, let's have a quick look and, oh, sorry. Let's have a look and see what 1990. So here we are. So it looks as though Jupiter Venus probably kicked that on because of this, yeah. So towards the end of Jupiter and Venus obviously sits in their 10th house of politics anyway. In fact, I might just change this to, okay, so here we are. So we can look at her D10 as well and see what's going on. So Jupiter, as you can see, is in her D10, is in the 11th house of gaining, and also Venus would be like in her 10th house again in her D10. So you can see that there's naturally that was going to always happen for her. And she goes on to have lots of real successes in there, really. So, and if I just have it, she becomes the leader of the CDU in year 2000, and 2005 she goes into office. So let's have a look at her dashas during that time. So let's have a look and see in 2005. So 2005, again, Saturn Venus now, it kind of kicks off her career really taking off. So you can see she's got exalted Saturn there, and Venus obviously in her 10th house. And from here, Saturn rules her first house of her D10, and Venus is in the 10th house. So naturally you can see that's happening there for her. And then I just wanted to have a look, because it looks as though for her Saturn, although, you know, looks, you know, like exalted Saturn for her and everything, but actually Saturn is also for her what, you know, using Vimshottari and Vimshottari Dasa, and also the nakshatras, you know, Saturn is, although it's a good planet for her by looking at her chart, actually Saturn is what you would call a Pratyak planet for her, which means it will create a lot of obstacles for her. So that dasha of Saturn will be like third and sixth house stuff going on, and it will be a long dasha of 19 years full of different obstacles. But obviously within that, she'll have periods that things are not so bad. So I think, you know, the main dasha Saturn, that 19 years, will be difficult. However, certain planets during that time are going to be quite supportive of her chart as well. And one of the supportive ones will be Mercury. Mercury will give her really good, because it's a sadhana planet, so it just gives a lot of achievements. So during that time of Saturn Mercury, she actually does becomes very, very successful during that time. Actually goes into she becomes like leader of CDU at that point between 2000 and 2018. So that actually activates that for her. And then in 2005, which will be Saturn Venus, and again Venus is a good planet for her. It gives her the what's called, she goes into office at that point in 2005, and she will be there till 2021. So as you can see that she has, although the actual, the main planet for her, Saturn, was not very good planet for her. However, you know, the sub-periods were quite supportive of her. So this is why you should never worry about these kind of things, really. Just gotta accept that this is your karma, and, you know, the periods will be difficult and periods will be good. So, and then I was reading that she had actually had issues, and she was filmed in 2019 on 18th of June, and again, I don't know whether or not it's the 10th of or July or 27th of June. She was seen at events with the Premier of Ukraine, and she was shaking, you know, so I don't know if she was ill, and, you know, it just sounds as though she was dehydrated, but you never know with these people, you know, there's so many secrets with these things. They don't tell us. We don't really necessarily need to know how ins and outs and everything. But so let's go to 2019, June 2019, and see what was going on in her chart. I'm going to just contract that, go up. So 2019, so she was in Mercury and Venus. So they're both very supportive planets. Let's go again and see what's going on a bit deeper. So let's go to 2019. See what's going on with her. So I'm going to just expand on that. So I get to the nitty-gritty of her chart and see what's going on. Sorry, this is going to take me a little bit of time. I should have done that the other way around. But anyway, it's quite... All right, here we go. So... Okay, so you can see that she's in Mercury, Venus, and the Sun. So, and Sun for her again is quite a good period. So I don't actually think that's going to, unless there was something going on in the sky which was not so supportive of her. Then we have Moon. So Mercury, Venus, Moon period starts for her 20th of May in 2019. And actually Moon for her is her Janma nakshatra. So it just means that it can actually give her some issues. And actually then Rahu for her is a very difficult planet. Rahu for her is her Vipat. Vipat nakshatra, you know, the Rahu ones, because what they do, they create 8th and 12th house issues, which is like chronic disease, hospitalization. So, and look, it is just literally starting there. And even if she does get a little bit better there, and look, on the 26th, and then there is Mercury, Venus, Moon, and Saturn. So they will be causing issues for her for sure. So that's how you can tell that she probably was having difficulties. And don't forget, you know, Moon is also her Atmakarka. So there are possibly issues going on there. So yeah, so you can see that she was poorly, and she probably did have to, not that they're going to tell you, but she probably did go into hospital because Saturn is also in the 12th house. So I would imagine at that point she might have had to have a visit there and just get yeah. So this is all very, very telling. So I'm going to stop sharing now. So this is how you can tell that there is something going on with her, you know, so not just seeing her dasha and subdasha, but just going in and just getting the detail. So basically speaking, just, you know, in terms of dashas and everything else, I just thought I'd just quickly just tell you about dashas and what's going on. So basically, say for example, for her, she was, I can actually just share this with you just very quickly. Okay, so she was born as a Shravana, so she was ruled by the moon. So her very, very first, because Shravana is ruled by the moon, so she was born in Moon Dasha. Sometime during the Moon Dasha she was born, and she was actually, I think she was born in, let me just have a quick look and just check that so I get that right. Sorry, just going to go. She was born in 17th of July 1954. She was born. So she was born just before the Mars Dasha. So she's on very, very tail end of that. So the first nakshatra that we were born in, so she was born on Moon Nakshatra, Shravana. So, and then that is always a little bit like iffy. So it's not particularly good and it's not particularly bad. Can give the results of the actual birth nakshatra is so-so. It's not great or good. The next nakshatra, so Mars nakshatras for her, they will be what is called the Sampat ones. So whereas this is like first house stuff, this is like second and 11th house. So her Sampat ones are all the what would be Mars nakshatras, which will be Dhanishta there, which goes from there to there, from Capricorn into Aquarius, and then Mrigashiram, which is from Taurus, and then it goes into Gemini, and then the last one is in Virgo in her 11th house and goes into her 12th house. So that Chitra. So those nakshatras are very good for her, Mars nakshatras. And I guess if they would have like activated in the in her chart for her, Mars subdashas, etc., they will be really good and supportive for her. Rahu, which was like is actually 18 years as well, whereas Moon is 10 years, but she was born towards the end of it. Mars is 7 years, and then she straight away goes into Rahu one, and Rahu is 18 years, and for her is her Vipat, Vipat nakshatra. So it means that this period between 15th of May 62 to 15th of May 1980 must have been quite difficult times for her. Obviously sub periods, because it'll be like, as I'm just going to expand it so you can see. So let's do it and just see. Actually, I should have done it this way around. So Rahu will be difficult, but Rahu Jupiter will be, it's always one good one, so that would have been difficult. This would have been good. The Rahu Saturn would have been difficult. Rahu Mercury would be more sort of more supportive. And then, Ketu one will be difficult, and Venus will be supportive. And actually the one after that, the one after Venus as well, Sun, they are that's the Mitra one, and that's Ati Mitra. Both of them are supportive, and then you go back again from Moon. So the first one is difficult, second one Sampat is good, third one is difficult, fourth one is good, fifth nakshatra from the Moon is difficult, sixth one is good, seventh one is difficult, eighth and ninth one are good. So this is always the same for every single native, really, every single ascendant, or that's how it goes. So we know that she had some difficulties during that time, and Vipat is the third nakshatra from your Moon. So Shravana will be the first one, second one would be Dhanishta, and the third one would be Shatabisha for her. And once she goes into Shatabisha, then that will create difficulties for her 8th and 12th house issues. And then it means Ardra, which is difficult as well, and then Swati, which is Saturn. So we know that when she goes into Saturn period, Saturn and Rahu was very difficult for her, because both these planets are difficult for her. And not only that, she has got Saturn sitting in Swati, which is very difficult because both the nakshatra and the planet are not good. And also the Rahu period not only activates Shatabisha and Ardra, which means that both Mercury and Jupiter are quite difficult for her as well, in a sense, but even if they were good, because they also activate Ardra as well. So you can't just say that it's just, Mercury period is good, but Mercury, because it's sitting in Rahu, and Jupiter also because it's sitting in Ardra, they're both going to be difficult for her, as will Saturn. So we know that she's had some obstacles there as well. So this is why when she has gone into that period, actually in 2021, when things have started to activate for her, they're not necessarily easy ones. So if we go to 20 Mercury, and if I go up, so just going to try and get over this bit. Oh, no, gone too far. Sorry, let me just go. Okay, so that was 2018, wasn't it? So, and if I go up a little bit more, so oh, it was 2019, 18th of June, 2019. So it's roundabout sort of there, that area. And I'm just going to take that up so we can have a look properly. So here we go. So we can actually go right to the day, actually. So just having a look. So we're going to go 18th of June. 18th of June. Sometimes my thumb really hurts me when I'm doing these things. There's a lot of up and down with the, here we go, 18th of June. So you can see right to the day. So you can see that Mercury, obviously, you know, it's a good planet for her. However, it's in Ardra, so it's also activated Rahu as well. So Mercury Dasha, although should be really supportive for it, but it's got that Rahu issue underneath it. And Venus is also in Ketu Nakshatra. So again, that's a list. So she has had quite a lot of obstacles, and she's very good at not really showing it. And Moon obviously is a difficult one again, because it's her like birth one. And Jupiter should be like, you think it's going to be a really good one, but it's also activates Rahu things. So you can see that they could have possibly had started this issue with her health. So, and then on the 18th, so she's got Rahu, it's almost like Rahu, Ketu, Moon, Rahu, and Rahu. It just feels as though, yes, she was going to have these difficulties then. So yeah, it's very telling that. And obviously because what happens is, you know, for her, the third nakshatra from her moon, so she was born on Moon, Mars, and then straight after Mars, she's gone into Rahu. So that would be the third one, which will give her a lot of problems. It will give her health issues, because 8th and 12th house ruler is also completions, ending. So you can see that it can actually start also the end of her career as well, which she did. So yeah, it's amazing what you can see, really. So anyway, I hope that was interesting, and I look forward to seeing you very soon. And don't forget also that she actually finished in her office in 2021. So it was definitely completions for her. Thank you, guys. See you soon.